Sorry, there's no table. Budget cuts. The table may resurface at a later date. Don't worry about it. We're all here. Today we can talk about the US and the British troops pulling out of Afghanistan, dooming millions who were a part of the democratic reform of that country to most certainly a violent and unstable end. Or because it is extremely difficult to make a joke about the Taliban viciously ruling over 40 million people, we're going to talk about something less distressing. I mean, it's still distressing, but it's less distressing. World news. Saturday morning, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake hit Haiti, killing over 700 people, leaving thousands wounded and displaced. And as human beings do, people are trying to make sense of why and how this happened. I mean, it could be the boring answer that in a place where there are mountains, which themselves are features of plates being pushed against each other, seismic activity isn't really all that surprising. Or the reason could be voodoo. I was going to do a whole rant about how after the last earthquake in 2010, Pat Robertson blamed it all on the Haitian people and an imagined pact with the devil to help them gain independence. But as Pat Robertson was not born in 1804, I abstain to involve. You know what? No. We'll make it quick. Different people do things differently. It only makes sense that Africans rebelling against French Catholics would lean on their African tradition. The fact that these traditions are different doesn't make them wrong or satanic. It makes them different. Case in point, enthusiasm. Now, this is what traditional Christians would say about the Great Awakening, which is a period of an explosion in the popularity of evangelical Protestants that started about the 1800s. One of the criticisms of this new movement was the fact that there was movement. People were being slain in the spirit and their bodies were thrashing about violently. The traditional Christians would scoff at these people and say, they're enthusiastic. I know it sounds like a good thing, but it really wasn't. They were questioning this different practice. Enthusiasm literally means to be possessed by a god. And this includes everything from the jumper churches in the Bahamas where tourists would go over the hill to see black people jump up and down wildly in church, to the holy rollers in America that would roll about in the aisles when they were baptized in the Holy Spirit. What was my point? Yes, wait, the phrase possessed by a god is literally how voodoo practitioners describe what they do. I'm not telling you to start practicing voodoo, but I'm just saying 200 years ago, people were looking at Methodists as strange as you look at a voodoo priestess. What we're not going to do is let evil, money-hungry televangelists from the 80s who oversimplify centuries of persecution of our brothers and sisters in Haiti, chalk all the bad things that happened to Haiti to sacrificing a pig before running the French out of town. See, by putting the blame on the actions of Haitian people, it excuses all of the destabilization, all of the forced death, all the literal and metaphoric rape of Haiti by so-called peacekeepers. Haiti is cursed. The curse is capitalism and white supremacy. And unfortunately, we're all underneath that curse. So that's not really that earth-shattering. See, I brought the pun all the way around. That's fine. But here's the thing. I'm not even really concerned about the people who think that Haitians have actively brought this upon themselves, which is dumb. My concern are the people who passively accept every bad thing that happens in this world. I'm sure when I mentioned Afghanistan at the beginning of this, someone was like, that part of the world, boy, they do love killing people, ignoring the very real and complicated geopolitical history of that part of the world. It's that type of apathy that results in CNN only getting our name right when there's a Category 5 storm barreling towards us. You suddenly feel free from the responsibility of helping or even thinking about people suffering. After all, Haiti has always had unstable politics and earthquakes. That's just what they do. And then you move on to the next story. You don't need to feel bad or help or sympathize or even at the very least correct people who are hating on Haitians for no reason. Guys, people, you're repeating things said by Pat Robertson, a man who said that God told him that Obama would lose the 2012 election and Trump would win the 2020 election. What does the Bible say that you should do to a prophet if they say something and it doesn't happen? It's in the part of Deuteronomy that they always skip over. The man has a gold mine in Africa and supported a war criminal who harbored Al-Qaeda terrorists. Yet, we're out here saying that Haiti is the ones worshiping Satan. Okay, cool. The question is, what is going to happen to us when in 12 years it's too hot to go outside and we have hurricanes in January? Do you think that they're going to have pity on us? or the Pat Robinsons of the world will say that we signed a pact with the devil when we removed the Queen off of the money as they jump into their diesel-powered Hummers. In other news, in a survey conducted by the Florida Hospital Association, 70% of hospitals in the American state are worried about the shortage of healthcare workers. So big is the concern that Halifax Hospital is offering $10,000 as a signing bonus to nurses. Unfortunately, some of us decided to become English majors when we were in college. Would you like a feminist reading of Lil Wayne's "A Millie" while we share this packet of noodles, milady? I question the choices I've made in my life. Like, honestly, I'm ready to go to KFC and try to make one paper hot or one of their buckets to see if I could still get in on the vibe. Just days before schools are set to open in Florida, 3 teachers from their second largest school district have died from COVID-19. So, you know that it's only a matter of time before folks return to virtual learning. Now, I hope all of you teachers have been brushing up on your TikTok formats for your lessons. I'm sure there's a teacher's TikTok somewhere that teaches you how to do stuff. Underpaid teacher check. Put a finger down if you've incorporated fun learning videos in your lesson. Put a finger down if that's not coffee in your number 1 teacher's mug. Put a finger down if you're wearing pants on Zoom classes, but your shirt is a part of a larger rotation of unwashed clothes. Put a finger down if you're glad when a blackout happens so you don't have to pretend like you have bad internet just because you hate teaching fractions. Put a finger down if you wish you had gone out with the food and nutrition teacher even though she's a little tall and can look you directly in your eye and that freaks you out. But you wouldn't have to be cooking your own cereal. Put a finger down if the parent of a child who didn't sign into online classes all semester has sent you death threats because of their grades. Put a finger down if they have the right one. Put a finger down, local news. After the death of A.D. Hanna, it was announced that the former Governor General's face will replace that of the Queen on the $100 bill starting next year. The 5-year project is technically bipartisan, meaning that this is one of the few things that both the FNM and the PLP can agree on. It's money. At the delivery of over 128,000 doses of the Fisa vaccine, the Prime Minister assured the public that there's going to be enough COVID vaccines in the country with shots available Monday, August 16th. This removes one more apprehension that some persons have about the vaccine. Some people didn't want to take the AstraZeneca shot because of what I can only assume is brand loyalty. There's no way you don't trust medicine produced by a fellow post-colonial country, but you trust one from a country that has a salmonella outbreak every 3 months. First world products, if the school shootings don't get you, the chicken nuggets will. An American tourist was arrested at the Lynden Pinling International Airport when officials at the U.S. Customs called police because of a vial of 10 grams of marijuana oil. Like the Bible say in John chapter 1, verse 11, it's really be your own boys, babe. Was she leaving? I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the customs agents for going above and beyond and adhering to the laws of our country and treating her like you would anybody traveling with illegal substances. With that said, she is from California. Her entire luggage is probably a giant edible. And also, have you guys never watched Locked Up Abroad? Why would you want to do that? You know what? It's fine. Finally. Quick question. So remember that time when your cousin borrowed $50 from you and they were supposed to pay you back like the following Friday? And you let it slide. Because that's your cousin, right? But then 2 months in and you like, hey, you got the $50, but they don't. And now they telling you that they still need you to drop them to work in the morning. Mind you, they never give you no gas money before, and clearly they had a better job than you. So they should have their own car and everything. So now you like, listen, my car the gas until you bring me my money. But now they carrying on like, why you doing this? And we as family. Time now, you can smell the crack conch on this man back because they got money to buy conch snack for breakfast. But you over here eating store-brand cornflakes with water. And then your auntie come out of nowhere and say, oh, you think this the right time for you to be doing this? He could be late for work. And you know he Grammy sick right now. That's my Grammy too! But he on probation right now. And things a little iffy because of COVID. But you also don't got no money, and they living in your house, and now you running out of joy to bed with because you can't afford to buy regular soap. My question is, when is the right time for you to be fed up and to do something about it so you could get what owed to you? Now, I am sure that someone is going to volunteer to explain to me why all the medical personnel didn't get the honorarium. Feel free to leave it in the comment. However, I am displeased that the people that we need to keep society from crumbling and falling apart are not only underpaid, but also asked to be better persons because their job isn't a job, it's a calling. I mean, how many times have police, teachers, doctors, nurses, defense force, prison officers are told that they're getting money and then told to wait for months, sometimes years to get it? It ain't like they didn't work for it and it wasn't promised to them. Also, please don't go underneath this video and try to make this political because this has been happening for decades. Then, when these people say, okay, you don't value our work enough to pay us, we are going to withdraw our labor until further notice, everyone suddenly says, it ain't the right time to strike. It's never the right time to stop working if you own the plantation. But assuming that we are all free people, when is the right time to be fed up? Why? Like, share, and subscribe. If you like this content, feel free to stop by my Ko-fi page and, maybe buy a book or some music. Oh, yeah, if you guys buy enough, music and books, then I'll have a table again. Also, if you want to share it, there's chopped up versions on Instagram. It comes out differently there, But yeah, see you guys next week.